And I think we're talking about entrepreneurship, but you're the entrepreneurs. But you're not part of the traffic today. They're the presenters. We've heard some good experience with presentations and the questions coming from the colleagues first row. But I think this day is meant for you. It was for you. It is designed for you. So you should be involved. You should be asking the questions or stopping us and sharing your comment. So this is the most critical thing, I believe. So at least in my turn, please stop me anytime. And actually, maybe I will ask you some questions. So it's the Global Entrepreneurship Week. I hate this because entrepreneurship is not 1 week. It is all the days during the year. And it's not 1 year, it's all several years in a row. But tell me, why do we care so much about entrepreneurship? You hear more of entrepreneurship, ventures, capital, investment, more and more in the last years. So tell me why. The first line is not speaking. Even the second one. So tell me, why do you think entrepreneurship is so important nowadays? Yes? You're the future of the society. That's an excellent answer. Society. What we do is for the society. Okay? And the society is the young people, the young brains. It's the creative youth. It's the well-educated. I was here, I think, 3 months ago, and I met Sup'Com as well as some other universities, institutions, and I was telling Mrs. Moni that I should be dealing with Sup'Com. After a short meeting, I could say that there is the potential here. Okay? So whatever we do, or we will be doing with you, you have to be involved. Now, this discussion is very important. Failure rates, I'm telling you right away. And please note this, right away. There is no failure in entrepreneurship. There is only one key word in entrepreneurship, and that is experience. As simple as this. Myself, I'm announced to be a professor. Yes, I'm a professor, but I'm coming from private sector. 27 years of industrial experience I have, and that's 15 years is top management. And I had some breaks as well during my career. I set up 8 companies. So my 8 startups, 6 didn't go very well. Did I stop? You never stop. So again, it is a cultural thing. Now in Turkey, in Tunisia, if your startup is not doing very well, if you're married, your wife doesn't forgive you. And even more than the wife, you know, if you're married, your mother-in-law, they complain that if you would be a manager at the Ministry of whatever because you have a good training, good education, then you would be taking care of the children. But you know, this is changing. We're going to change the culture. And that's what happened in Turkey. And most likely that's what happened in Korea as well, South Korea. So again, very important, very relevant discussion. But what did I do with the 7th company? I sold the company at break-even. And the 8th company I started up. I sold the company, and that amount I received, the cash, perfectly paid the 6 that didn't work well. And on top, I had enough cash to create some other businesses. So again, we are talking about experience. There are no failures. When we have a seminar like this, a conference like this, and we would like to have those individuals, entrepreneurs, who have rather not good experience. We can't find them because of that reason that they are hidden in the society. And I'm pretty sure Tunisia is no different. So again and again, as the decision makers, the professors, the companies are here, we will have to invest. There is no cost for a startup. There's an investment to the society. That's why I like that definition, society. If an incubation or like what Tunisia is doing, there is no cost to this. There's an investment back to the young people. I have a presentation, and I'll go through it, but I would like to say a few words on the general wrong practice we have. And the more we discuss about the wrong practice, I guess you will not repeat them. You will learn from experience, and your startups will be more likely to survive. Okay? So a couple of ideas. Are we all engineers here? Raise your hands if you're engineers. Yes, we're all engineers. Myself, I'm an engineer too. We're very smart people, you know? Even the economists, they are smart too. Okay. I mean, the engineers and other technical disciplines, very smart in nature, in building things. So we are very creative, but guess what? We are very much product driven. Okay, it's all, what is important is just a product. So we like our labs, infrastructure, we like to conduct experiments because it's a safe haven to us. That's the world we know, right? University, labs, or a garage, or whatever, some setup, some devices, experiments, and we measure them. But the world is not there. So as engineers, and I call you entrepreneurs, we should be instead be market driven. Okay? It's the market outside. Who is in the market? Tell me some basic actors in the market. Who's in the market?
The client.
I'm sorry?
The client.
The customer, the client, yes. Who else? Investors, cash, capital.
Consumers.
Consumers. Competitors, very good. What else? Other stakeholders, yes. End users, what else? Distribution channels, right? Resources, and not enough resources. So the real world, the practical world, and the, you know, the inputs that we are after the outputs as entrepreneurs, everything, the valid and the relevant information, the knowledge is in the market. So what I propose you, as you will be competing in this challenge, I think in March, since March arrives, you should be going and talking to and making observation and talking to the competitors, talk to the startups, you know, ask questions, make a basic market survey. Who has done a market survey? None of you. Why? Because we are engineers. But it is the market that the entrepreneur will base his or her product or service. Okay? It's such a unique experience that when you have a business idea, that business idea becomes a basic survey, and then you conduct your basic survey on the most crowded street somewhere. What do? You need to stop someone and ask questions. It's so difficult to stop the first person. You know, you're timid and you're shy and, you know, you're not sure if you can take the time. A couple of minutes. But the second one, the third one, and the 10th, it's better and better. So again, do that and experience the real market research. You don't have to be doing a perfect one because you don't know how to design it maybe. But go and find a marketing company, talk to them, ask them how they conduct the market research. and then set up your own market research and do it in the market. You know what we do sometimes? We just we create groups and we provide some cash, like 100 dinars, okay? So it's a one-day exercise, and the groups, they run to the market, the most crowded place. They have to make more money out of that 100 dinars. Could you do it?
Yes.
We'll see. Well, maybe we shall see. So, of course, to have high points, as if we do that as part of a course, what they do is they say, oh, 500 dinars, so they put 400, they ask from the mothers or the fathers. But then, to avoid that, we say, half of what you bring is ours. So, I don't know if you can contribute so much for the AA to pass the class. But such exercise is so important. Again, coming back to my point is that it's the market. End of the story. If you know the market, ask the market, and then if you go back to your lab for a research or to develop your business idea, then it's going to be shorter. Because most of our experience is in our incubation technopark. We have several incubation and acceleration program. We are running the 10th year of our business plan contest. Our overall experience is that it's very good engineers, excellent technology they know and they develop, but it's hardly doable or hardly sellable. So again, if you go back to the market, it's going to be shorter. Your research period will be shorter, and that means less cash invested. Okay? One other mistake. I know it all. Why do I create a team? And engineers, I don't know if we are very good team members. And then leadership is missing. So when I create a team, or I ask them to create a team, teams are never created. And if they are created, it's the last week that they meet once. Okay? Well, I know this. I was a student once, and I did engineering as well. But again, entrepreneurship is a multidisciplinary domain. You need to have, business people, marketing people, other engineers. You have to be discussing and you have to be working in harmony. Another thing is, oh, I have a business idea. It's so unique that I shouldn't be sharing it with anyone. Okay? And almost no business idea is so unique. Again, we were discussing yesterday, I shared that the best business ideas in Silicon Valley, do you know who know the best business ideas? So wherever you go, restaurants, cafes, hotels, this and that, and incubations and other places, the investors are talking to the entrepreneurs who own the business ideas. So what happens is that it's always someone is bringing food to the table, the waiter. And the waiters, they have the best business ideas. Because while they're delivering the food, they hear about the business idea. But it was never the experience that they've taken the business idea and created a startup. So the business idea, it's a myth, that, oh, I should, protect my business idea. Instead, you should be sharing your business idea. You should be giving it away. Seriously. Because if you give it away and it can be easily taken, there is no value to it. What is your contribution? Your unique contribution that everyone could contribute. So if there is such a business idea, that means in Finland, in Turkey, in France, in Argentina, the same business idea is still in the minds of people, entrepreneurs like yourselves. Instead, it's the business model. How you're going to make this happen, which is unique. And if I have time after coffee, I'll be talking to you about the business model. And the business models now are replacing the business plans. So the business plans we used to write when I was a student or a young entrepreneur, the thicker, the better it was. Now, we don't write such business plans anymore. So it's the planning of the model. How you're going to take your idea to the market as a new product and service, who you're going to couple with, what kind of resources and key facilities and activities you will do. These are more important. So these are basic and common mistakes that all entrepreneurs and basically mostly the engineers we do. Okay? So hopefully maybe in time we will have some other meetings or trainings we'll discuss in detail. So could I go? Yeah. Now, the mega trends, the entrepreneur has to read and understand the mega trends where the world is going. Because the world is changing very fast. Okay? Any questions? Yes?
You have talked about market, and when we talk about market, we have to involve the world's changement and
involve what?
World's movement and technology evolution.
Yes.
So when we talk about creativity, we have to have a background of persons that are supporting us, like OGs or government high-ranked persons. So it would be better if they would be here with us, and we are not the only one who are involved in those sessions. Another point, when we talk about...
You're saying that the government and other stakeholders should be present and there should be interaction?
Yes.
Sure, yes.
The other point is that when we are talking about leadership, about entrepreneurship, we have to talk about internship and leadership. It would...
Leadership and?
Internship.
Internship.
Yes.
Okay.
It would be better if we had some sessions about leadership here. Before
yes. Yes. So actually it's a list of many topics. It's quite interesting and wide in concepts. And leadership is very important. You mentioned internship, that is working for a company, doing a stage, something like that. It's important, and not limited to that. Any experience relating to the market, companies, institutions is very critical. So I don't know if it's a common practice you go for a stage, or is it the common practice that you have part-time jobs in the companies? Very critical, very important. But again, involving the government, involving other stakeholders is an element of maturity of the entrepreneurship culture in that particular country or domain. Okay, so that was missing in Turkey 10, 15 years ago. Now, all stakeholders are talking to each other. So actually, it is the creative collisions which we are after. And that's why I want you to be involved. Because this group is creative enough itself. And you have to be creative, you have to interact. And unless you demand or you take a position, you ask questions or you share comments, it will not happen. So that was my initial comment. I agree. So let me share with you very briefly what is going to happen from my perspective in the future. Because as we want to be engineers, we want to create startups in a unique area. Not everyone could come and enter, because that's going to save us in the competition. There's competition in each and every industry and sector, in every business. So there's less in certain, surely much more in other areas. So if we are lacking capital, which is financial capital, then we have to balance this with human capital. If we put more human capital, but less financial capital, so we should be in the right business so that it requires intellectual property, okay? but not financially, because we cannot compete. Tunisiana has more funds than us, than you, okay? So Tunisiana will compete in its own domain, and they will create you a platform with incubation, with programs as such, so that you could partner with them. And they're going to invest in the society. They are, and they will invest in the society. So one of the mega trends is urbanization. And urbanization is, for sure, we know it for 50 years, everyone wants to come to the big cities. But the change is the city, not the country, but the city is a customer, okay? And it's changing. It's the cluster. I mean, you're going to sell to the city. Water supplies, commodities, energy. We're talking about mega cities. Istanbul is a mega city. And how big is the capital here? I don't know, but a few million, I guess. And it's going to change. It's going to be big and big, but also the infrastructure requirements will change. We're talking about mega regions. There's a production place in China. It's a mega region. Lots of factories, lots of industries, and it's going to be so, more and more even. But if you're talking about intellectual property, a mega region, for example, is Silicon Valley. Okay? So lots of startups, lots of good universities, and lots of capital invested. And if you look at Ankara, we have 5 very concrete and strong technoparks with 5, they are part of the university, so 5 very strong universities. There are 25 universities in Ankara, but 5 big ones, and those have the technoparks. So we're talking about easily 100,000 researchers. So in that respect, Ankara is becoming a hub for intellectual property together with Istanbul. Mega corridors, and of course, mega slums as well. So they're going to come together. They will have different set of needs and expectations. So it's the cities, not the countries anymore, which will drive the wealth creation. The city culture with so many applications, ICT, infrastructure, mobile applications. And don't forget, if you're looking for a business or a business idea, it's the SOLOMO we call, social, local, and mobile. It has to touch part of. So are we happy with that? Well, being happy or not is a different matter. But this is the trend, and it's going to be more and more concentration. Okay. One example. Siemens, for example, used to focus on industries separately, independently. Look at on your left. Energy is a separate silo. Healthcare is separate, and industry overall is separate. Now, it's an integrated part, and because there's the city and the citizens in the city, and they require different services, and services are somehow interconnected. Okay, so the second trend is smart is the new green, yes? Smart cities. Now, why is this so important, megatrends? Because I like this. I'm going to show you this presentation, because our ecosystem, and it's not by chance that the startups we create, so far we created about 200 startups. These are the successful ones. We most likely create more. Are bound to serve these in these areas. So it used to be a push strategy in the past that us, the university, the technopark, or the government, we were pushing certain industries and services so that you would create products and services. But now it became a pull strategy that we don't have to do anything. Our young people, trained, educated, they work with innovative tools. Now they create companies to serve such needs. So they sense what the market needs. But again, we are not born marketeers. I mean, Turkish people, we are not the best marketing people, but that is changing. So we have observed that we can invest in the society and we can create more entrepreneurs and more marketing people. And thanks God, it can be developed. So one of the startups, very successful startups, they employ high technology and image processing to solve traffic. So we said smart cities and smart traffic. Yes, there are several companies, and not only one, and not only in our technopark, but there are 50 technoparks in Turkey, and different startups here and there, all compete in a very constructive manner. And then again, engineers, if you become real entrepreneurs, what we do, we have a product or a service, and then there are the existing companies who provide the same service. We want to enter the market, half the price. Common mistake. Don't damage and don't harm the market. You could be a little bit competitive, but why do you just make it half? The price is established. You can harm the pricing structure in 1 week. But to reconstruct it, it requires 5-6 years. Okay? So most of our engineers, when they started up the companies, they were making such mistakes, but not anymore. So I'm not going to go in detail because our colleague from South Korea mentioned very good applications, mobile applications. So smart infrastructure, smart energy. We don't have few kilowatts of energy to lose anymore. Okay? So we're going to be more competitive, we're going to save more, we're going to invest in the smart technologies. Yes. And convergence of technologies. So convergence of many things actually. Now, I don't see many shopping malls here. Maybe you have few. You're going to have more. We have so much shopping malls in Izmir, Ankara, Istanbul, we complain, but then I check the figures, that it's half the level of Europe. So that means we're going to have more shopping malls. What is a shopping mall? It's convergence. So you can park, you can dine, you can take your kids to a film, you can do it all. I don't like it as a person. I'm more a street shopper. But it's not if you like it or not, but it's the trend. So the same is true for technologies. One device. Who would think 20 years ago that one device is doing it all? It's our internet, our phone, our everything. Now temperature, you're measuring temperature. So and it's going to be even worse. It's going to be everything. Now, if we are cut off 10 minutes, we complain. But it's only 10 minutes per day. If we are not connected, we are not happy. So it's the instant gratification, I call it, that the consumers, the customers, we want it all and we want it now. So we want the satisfaction right away. So what is this? Now, this means that maybe independent movies will not make so much revenues. Because for that, a nice Turkish film or Italian movie, lots of history behind that. So you have to think about it before and watch it slowly and understand and talk about it in a couple of weeks. Nobody has time for that. So what we do is, we watch a movie, Hollywood made, and forget it there. So we consume it right there. And it's going to be similar, at least for a few decades, in all products and services. And convergence of technologies. So, yes. Social trends is a mega trend. She economy, okay? It's woman producing, it's woman selling, it's woman consuming as well. She economy. It's going to be more and more important. Reverse brain drain. We complain. Oh, look at Tunisia. Tunis. Lots of good students, they go to France, Francophone, and so they find jobs and they stay. Yes, this is the situation. That was the situation for Turkey as well. 20 years ago, 15 years ago. What happened? As the government has created, and governmental agencies, universities, created the right environment, the right climate for investment, most of the professors, most of the professionals are coming back, and I'm an example. I was 15 years abroad. So I wanted to come back because I thought, you know, US in Europe is phasing away gradually. Turkey is more interesting. So I'm sure it will happen here in a couple of years' time. Aging. I mean, again, in the case of South Korea, our colleague mentioned that it's 1.1% birth rate, so it's slow. But he also mentioned that there's aging. So what Turkey is doing is, in order to avoid aging, the government is promoting 3 children. So again, how will Tunisia cope with this? So it's going to be very critical. Yes. Economic trends, these are the BRIC countries. But are we sure it's going to be only BRIC countries? Now let's look at some figures. Now, the ones in yellow are the BRIC countries, Brazil, India, China, and Russia. And by 2025, they're going to have their economies in $1 trillion, so much. But there are also other countries coming. So Poland, Turkey, Mexico, Argentina, and it's going to shift. There will be a power shift as well. Okay, so for any product and service, these countries could be for your export and interesting market. Okay, because if you are now a potential entrepreneur and you go directly to one of those already existing high potential, maybe everyone is going there and competition is too high. It's like buying a stock exchange, a share of a company in the stock exchange. Did anyone invest in the stock exchange? Bought a share and sold it? You know, do you know when you make money? Generally, you make money when others sell, you buy, or vice versa. Because as young, limited cash, if you hear something and by the time you hear it, it's already too late. And then you want to do the same, prices are too high and you buy at a premium. So instead, if everyone is selling, you should be buying, and other way around. Okay? So same here. Which are the attractive markets today will not be so attractive in 5 years' time. When you are ready in 5 years' time. Connectivity and convergence. Again, convergence of technologies, convergence of businesses, and connectivity, as I mentioned. I mean, imagine that by 2020, 5 connected devices for every user. You know, there was one of the founders of IBM. He once mentioned in 1960s that the world will need only 5 computers. Could you imagine? His business is computer business, and his vision is only, of course, each computer is maybe as big as this room, but slower than your laptop today, or less in capacity. So what they, missing vision. Maybe he was so smart to start the computers, but from a marketing perspective, it wasn't very visionary. So, and it already exists. I mean, most of the mobiles you hold in your hands, they are as strong as computers. Already, you have maybe 2 or 3 devices, one at home, desktop, maybe one at school. I don't know. Already a mobile, a smartphone. And it's going to be also 10 connected devices for every household. You know, a smart TV, a smart fridge. They will be talking to each other. They will be giving orders. When the number of eggs are missing, maybe there will be a direct order. This is in detail, so as I'm going to leave my presentation, I'll pass this. Innovating to zero. Yes. So the governments, municipalities, institutions, universities, all companies, we all look for zero crime rate. Then we have to invest in surveillance, okay? And that is happening in Turkey. Lots of cameras, lots of systems, lots of software, and zero accidents. Well, of course, maybe never zero, but that's the aim. And the zero carbon cities. If you produce carbon, and then you have to invest to grab it back. We're all responsible. Zero corporate debts. I mean, imagine what happened in the US. You know, it wasn't transparent, we have seen in 1990s and 2000s. So big corporations, their numbers were not true. Their financial balance reports, they were missing, they were not correct. Zero waste. So limited resources, limited water, limited energy. So it's going to be zero waste. And new business models. And the model is changing from value for money, because in the US, everyone in the market has a rationale. The one buying something very small has a rationale. The one paying 6,000 or 7,000 euros for a bag, for a lady's bag with a nice brand, they also have a rationale. Please note that in the market, no one is a fool, no one is stupid. Everyone is buying in return a value. So this was the buzzword, value for money. Now that is changing, or it will change, and it's going to be value for many. So it's going to be personalization. And it's mentioned in the South Korean. You remember the shoe industry? So it was going down, and now technology is attached. So it's going to be personal and it's going to be customized. Co-creation in your software or in your systems. You'll be developing your software or your game, digital game, together with end users, so that your research will not be back and forth. It's not going to cost more. Okay, I'll go quick here. So it's going to be value for money. I mean, affordable healthcare. It's going to be already freemium, but there will be more maybe. There's going to be the group buying effect. And one of the industries which will grow, and it's growing in Turkey. Now, 15 years ago or 10 years ago, Europeans wouldn't come to Turkey for a operation. Now, imagine how many guests or healthcare, we call it healthcare tourism. How many people come? Do you have a rough figure to Turkey? More than 1 million. Mostly from Europe, but also from the region. 2/3 are coming from Europe. They come for a surgery, for an operation, and with the family, and then they stay 10 more days to heal up, and then also in short vacation. And Turkey wants to make it 10 million. What do we need? We need more devices, we need more local processes and new products. And that is happening. Now, we see this in our startups. I receive more and more business models and business ideas for healthcare. Why? Because the market has a need. Now, it used to be, as I said, a push, but no longer a push, it's a pull. The startups, the young people, they understand the market needs, so they come back with ideas. Okay. Yeah, let's go. Again, health kiosks. Imagine you don't have to go to a doctor or a hospital. there's a kiosk and then you could count your blood. And it is going that direction. We have some startups working on this. And healthcare tourism, I already mentioned. And it can happen, I think, in Tunis. I mean, you've got the surrounding countries, and I think the perception